Hi and welcome. Welcome back to another episode of Narcissistic with your host, myself, Dr. Yaya Marie. I would like to first acknowledge everyone who is listening through iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. It really means a lot to this channel because this is a brand new channel. Also, I would like to say hello and welcome to my YouTube listeners and to also my TikTok listeners. Thank you so very much. And make sure you just support the channel just by listening, just by sharing, listening. And I really value your input. All right. Now, today, we are going to go into narcissism and marriage. Narcissism and marriage. We know that the narcissist marries extremely quick. We know that soon as they find someone who is a good supply, aka someone who has good resources, they usually like to lock down that supply with marriage. And this is because marriage is not something simple to get out of. You can't just run away. You can't just do that. So the narcissist sees this more valuable than having children. Now, if you were this show was actually inspired by someone on my TikTok, and I posted a video out there about being married to a narcissist, and the person replied saying, "Oh well, I'm stuck. I'm stuck because I don't believe in divorce." Now, my question is, do you really think that marriage was sent from God? Do you really think so? So that really fueled this podcast. And I was going to do a show on I have a different page if anyone's interested. It's Kingdom Keys Teaching. It's more of a Bible-based teaching. But that's what really fueled this show here. So we know that the narcissist is quick to marry. Once they find a good source, a good fuel source, they really want to lock down that supply. What they like is a person who is codependent, a codependent person. Now, a codependent person is not a bad person. A codependent is someone who is depending on the narcissist to fund their own sources of supply. Now, this is not on the level of a narcissist. A codependent is not a narcissist. It's just they depend on the narcissist to give them the gratification that they need. Okay? So just because someone is a codependent, it doesn't make them a bad person. It's just they are there to please someone. They usually tack on to the narcissist loves people pleasers. They love the people pleasing. They love someone who says, "Hey, I got it." Or are you like just giving them fuel and attention all day long? They love a codependent, someone who thinks they found a really good person. The codependent thinks they found a good person in this narcissist because the codependent hasn't ever actually got to a point where they had this type of love. So the codependent is not a bad person. It's just they are seeking something that the narcissist is giving them. They're dependent on the narcissist. A codependent person will always make sure the narcissist is happy because they don't want to start an argument. They will always make sure the narcissist has whatever they need because they're looking out and they really feel like they are in love with this narcissist, and they may be. So a codependent is someone who is also depending on the narcissist, but the thing with codependency is you're not manipulating anybody. You genuinely want to be there for that person. You genuinely love that person. The narcissist, on the other hand, is looking for supply. They're manipulating people. All right. So that's the difference between a codependent and an actual narcissist. The codependent does not have to manipulate anybody. Yes, they may be attached to the narcissist in an unhealthy way, but that does not make them a narcissist. So narcissists usually like to marry someone who they see is somewhat they could be a full out codependent person, or they could just have something that they want. They want to marry into a family that has status, that has, things that could of value that they could have. Okay. So it's also the narcissist marries for life, what they think is lifetime support, lifetime supply. The narcissist marries for that, as well as for image, social status. The narcissist marries for an image. You have narcissists that, if they get into some trouble, or if they get into a situation where they have to go to court, and you want to look like you have the perfect family. You don't want to look like a narcissist. You don't want to look like a sociopath going to court. You want to make it seem like you have it all together. And how do we view people that are married? You think they're trustworthy. You think they have it to a point where, okay, well, they're able to function in a relationship. Okay, well, this person must be okay. They're, an upright citizen. You're fine. You're okay. This is why they get married. It is not because they genuinely love someone. That is not it. They are looking at you as lifetime support and fuel, and they have an image to uphold. And a lot of people that have been married to these type of people, and not just narcissists, but married to toxic, very toxic individuals, you see that um, they're manipulated to the point where they feel like they cannot get out. So the narcissist may say, "Hey, I'll take the children, the house, everything." And it kind of leaves, after a while, it kind of leaves you in a state where you're not your usual rational self. All right. Because they don't get married for love, they get married for resources. And that's just, this is what they do. Now, you may find that this is why when you are discarded in that discard phase, they may have moved on extremely fast. Why? They do not view you as a person that they love, honor, cherish. What are the vows? They don't view that as you. They view you as a piece of trash that they can throw in the garbage and just move on to the next person. So this is why after the relationship is in a discard phase, they often move in or already have the person waiting in the wings. Okay. So they move in extremely fast. They either marry fast or they're already moving into the next person's house type fast. And this is without them being on their own. People that have a normal, a typical pattern of behavior, they're able to say, "Hey, this is not working out. So maybe I'll just take time for myself." No, the narcissist, they cannot be alone. They have to have that constant fuel, constant supply. So they move on from person to person to person very quickly. And their ideal subject, their ideal target is a codependent person. Because, like we said, that codependent person does not necessarily, it's not, they may mean well, but they're depending on the narcissist to make them feel whole. That codependent person needs someone too, but they don't manipulate and like a narcissist does. All right. So my thing is, from what the person put under the TikTok video, they said, "Well, I'm stuck because I don't believe in marriage." Now, my question is, because a lot of people like to throw around, "Oh, whom God put together, let no man put us under." I mean, we have heard that so many times. There's movies on it, movie titles, everything. But my question is, did God put that together? And how do you know? So let's break down the perfect will of God versus the permissive will. And to do that, you have to go and if we're looking at, if you say you don't believe in divorce because of religion, let's really put that into context. If you have where it says that God is a man that he cannot lie, he cannot lie. And every oath, he comes through with his promises, he comes through with everything. That is found in Romans, Romans 12:2. And you have it also in Numbers 23:19. God is a man that he cannot lie. And it's impossible for him to lie. So, with that being said, if you know that God honors marriage, his word says that you will have peace in your marriage. You will have, someone who's faithful to you. I mean, back then in the days of the Bible, they would stone you to death if you ever committed adultery. If you ever even, looked at a woman, that's in Matthew, with lust in your heart, or another person with lust in your heart. So what I want to know is, how do you know if God really put this together? Now, when you break this down, all of the things that the narcissist has done to you, including the gaslighting, the manipulation, the the cheating. I mean, that's enough right there. Do you really think God put that together? I don't think so. In fact, we know that God is not a man that he should lie, and he is not the son of man that he should lie. So how do you figure that if you say who God put asunder, let no man, I'm sorry, who God put together, let no man put asunder? I just don't understand that logic. Some of you, when you're married to a narcissist, you may have had strange things happen. For example, when you're married to someone who is not right, you will have things happen where I've seen people get in car accidents. They have never been in a car accident before in their entire lives. This is also true for relationships. Once you're connected with that narcissist, every single thing that narcissist touches, turns to dust, because the narcissist has such a bad aura around them. Everything is just, it's horrible. It breaks down. Your finances are depleted out of nowhere. You have illnesses that nobody knows where it's coming from. This is when you're attached to literally evil. Whatever that is on that narcissist is going to transfer over to the person that is entangled with the narcissist. Things go haywire out of nowhere, and things are things that cannot be explained. And the only way that you can explain it is on who you're around. I remember listening or talking to a person, and she could not find a job, and she was in a field of work. She was actually a teacher. This is when I was teaching also. She was a teacher, and she couldn't find anything, and she went on, I would say, at least 12 interviews in that area, and she even went out of the county. She could not find a job. And they are quick to hire, anyone in the education field. That they're really, really quick to hire teachers and anyone in that field, because it's so hard to find them. You're going to actually, you're going to get a teacher somewhere. So it was weird because the young lady, she couldn't find a job. And this is, I want to say 12, or she told me 11 or 12 schools that she went on an interview with. None of them would hire her. She had all the credentials. She had every single thing, passed all background checks. It was not until she left the boyfriend that the jobs, as soon as she left the boyfriend, she had an interview that next week and she was hired literally on the spot. It's something, I mean, I know that people understand where I'm coming from. It's just not really said, you know? So when you're thinking about the permissive will of God, you're thinking God is a man that he cannot lie and he honors marriage. That's in his word. So you may have picked someone to marry. You might have left God out of it and said, "Hey, I'm going to pick who I want to." Well, okay, you're free to do that because we all have free will. So when you do that, God will say, "Okay, well, I honor marriage because I cannot lie." His word says he honors marriage. He will honor your marriage to the wrong person. I hope everybody's understanding that. But is that in the perfect will? Is that the perfect mate that he chose for you? For example, if you have a young man and he's out and he finds this girl like, oh, I love her because she's a lawyer and I mean she got a nice shape and everything like that. And so he's like, okay, well, I'm going to marry her. That was Now he didn't consult God, he didn't do any of that. That was his will. He marries her. He's still in a permissive will, not perfect, because that was not the mate that God chose for him. But he's in a permissive will because God honors marriage. Now, there's two different things. I just hope everybody is understanding what I'm saying. I have two people in the back chat and I'm going to just add you up to the stream. All right. Let's see. First, I have Demi. Dim eyes, no. Are you on mute or can you take yourself off mute? Are you there? It says you're muted. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's move on to Michael.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm getting through it, you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Um, yeah, you're posing some pretty powerful stuff tonight, as you always do.
I'm
Um,
trying. I just hope everyone understands the difference between permissive and perfect.
yeah, I mean, I think that can be like a bit of an optical illusion, right? Because like something can appear to be something, and then like when you actually like start to experience it, it's not.
Very true. That's true too.
Um, the part you were talking about when you said that the illness that can come.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my goodness, when I met her, I got so sick. Like I had a retinal hemorrhage.
Wow.
I had a rash that appeared out of nowhere, and I had shingles all in the
Oh
same
my
like 9 month
goodness.
period. And then as things really started to get like, really cagey between us, I ended up with kidney stones and I ended up with a deviated septum.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I had two surgeries that year. So it was like I'd never had a surgery in my entire life. I've always been
Mm-hmm.
really healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Whoa.
and like I felt like it was spiritual attacks, but like I don't know. I mean, like, when you talk about like is the marriage ordained or is this something that like is like a setup? And I don't know how to like even like compartmentalize that really.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's really heavy. I mean, when I came into the knowledge of that, I mean, I had to keep researching and researching, and I'm a researcher. And I just was like, whoa. And it got to the point where I had to pray and fast. Like this this is serious. Because this isn't anything like you learn. Like a lot of people like, I went to seminary and things like that, but
All right.
it's not nothing you learn in Bible school. Like they don't, it's not like that. This is something that is really, you have to have a relationship with God, like a much higher power. than yourself. You have to, because this is actually, it's bigger than us. And I really hope people see that. And when I saw that comment saying, "Oh, well, I'm stuck because, I don't believe in divorce," it's just really, I'm like, "Oh, I wish people could just see what's going on, because this is how people get stuck in this abusive cycle. This is a cycle."
I mean, it's totally a cycle, and like I think that like there's a lot of shame and guilt to admit that something like this didn't work out, like the
Ah,
failure of it, plus like the expectation, right? Like, because like it's
mhm.
the idea that it's like some kind of a great sin, even a greater sin to separate a
Yeah,
household with children, you know?
yeah, that's
I
so
mean,
true.
it's like it's so weird because like I had this like track, right? You know, like a promotion, an opportunity,
Uh-huh.
and it just like it felt like everything that like I was dreaming kept just getting derailed, and
Mhm.
the focus was always on her and not
Yeah.
on me. Um, so I don't
Wow.
know.
That's so true. And I do meet a lot of people that I truly feel the narcissist comes into our lives to distract us and to delay us from what we're really supposed to do. I really truly feel that, because sometimes you can just hit like a roadblock when you're dealing with them, because you're so focused on this, you're so focused on that thing with them, and it kind of does take you or make you pause what you're doing, when in all actuality, I mean, two people are supposed to support each other. That's what I think. So it's just, it can't all be about one person. That's why I always say the relationship with a narcissist is so one-sided. You're always trying to please them, make sure they're okay, worry about their attitude, getting them out of their attitude, making sure your household is in order. So it's something. Let me see. Demi,
Oh, I'm here.
you're here. Okay, I got you.
Oh,
And
wow.
also,
I
I
know.
see conservative hippie. Okay. She says, I feel I was an image in the beginning. Things
Mm,
were being planned while I was getting over bacteria pneumonia and working
wow.
16 to 18 hours with my small business. Oh my goodness.
Wow. I can relate to that because the narcissists it makes you feel like you're just in the background and they're doing everything for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to comment on that when I saw her comment because I was having trouble getting in. Like something's not, I couldn't hear. I
That's
saw
how
you
it was
talking. Like,
last time.
yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I need to chime in because there's a lot going on here with that. The marriage was never sent by God
Mm-hmm.
because this person that I met, not even the first one. It's like we're we're helpers by nature. They see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I used to say, am I a target for these wrong people? And I knew they was wrong in my life because the way they would come at me, I
Mm.
knew something was different, but I couldn't grasp it because I know it wasn't me
Yeah.
all the time. Like I know I have issues. I know I have my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care to be text every few hours. You don't have to follow me. I'm not a dependent person, or at least I thought I wasn't. Maybe and you talked about codependency. I don't see myself that way,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, there were things in the relationships, and I say relationships because I can identify with two particular.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a dater. People that are serving and wanting to find love, we don't just go from
Yeah,
person
and
to
you know
person.
what? They know that too.
Right.
Especially people they like to stick with one person. They kind of
Yes.
they feed off of that type
Wow.
of, yeah.
They know you're not that type of
Yeah,
person. You
yeah.
are one person to a person. They love to hear you dated on your hand. How many people have you
Mm-hmm.
dated? That's one of those questions that they ask when you're courting, quote unquote, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get that vibe of them. So, yeah, you when you're saying too much, they're like, "Oh wow, this is perfect." But
Mm.
at the same time, here's this person, the people that the few people that I've met in knowing that I'm a giving heart. and take people for the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
They prey on us.
Yeah, that is very true. And then also whatever you desire, let's say if you do, sorry for my ice maker, I should have unplugged it.
That's okay.
If they know if you know desire marriage, and they'll string you along with that also. But then when they do marry you, I mean, they also marry because they want to get comfortable.
Mm,
They're going to, I mean, unleash
right.
just you're going to be a dumping ground
Yeah, that other side
for.
of them.
Yeah.
The
They, I
real
mean, they
side.
get comfortable. They get comfortable, and then
That
you
real
see.
side. And you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, who is this? And you like, wait a minute, is it me? Because
Mm.
luckily I didn't marry either one of them.
Oh, good.
Luckily,
Okay,
thank
good. Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
3 years was too long a relationship for me. And of course, that person said 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the other one, the first one, had been too long, but it
Mm-hmm.
was long distance. So they keep you on the shelf, and you're not knowing you're on the shelf.
That's
And they
true.
keep things, and you dismiss the person, but then they find a way to come back in your life. They call your folks, your parents. Oh, this person disconnected from me. How can I
Mm-hmm.
get back with them? They make it seem like
And
they're
that's all hoovering. That's all
it's
hoovering
total
when they
hoovering.
start. Yeah, when they
As
try to
if it,
suck you back in.
right, as if they're gonna marry you. I even heard from one of the guys that his mother used to say to me, "Oh, he plans on marrying you someday."
Well, the
He
mom be
said
all
that to
into it.
my face.
The mom will be the.
What? He
Listen, I love people, moms, and all that. But
right.
mama, listen, stop
They
sticking up
condone the
for your
behavior.
right.
It's as if they're the ones on the shelf too, like the
Yeah,
person has manipulated the parent, the mother.
yeah.
They have
I really
manipulated.
do think the mom knows. I
Oh
think the
yeah,
mother knows because
she has some acknowledgement
yeah,
too, because
yeah.
she's created this little demon.
You know it.
She,
That's right. The
it's
mom
comical, but
knows.
it's
So
true.
listen,
She
the
created it.
mama know. Mama know.
Moms always know when
Yeah,
they create a little demon. He could be a serial killer. She
yeah.
still
It's
love her
not
serial
my
killer.
son
Not my son. Oh no, he's still a
or my
sweet
daughter.
boy. Right, or the daughter. She's so sweet. How could you, no, she
Yeah,
wouldn't do that.
yeah, yeah,
No, she's a sweet girl.
yeah.
You hear all those types of things from, yeah, parents gonna love their little demons because that's
Not gonna lie.
they have no choice almost.
Listen, I look. If I create I'm like, look. I don't know where you gonna go, but
It's like look in the mirror. You are a little
right,
monster. Get it together,
right.
and that'll be early on. You're not gonna
Yeah,
go down
that
the
that
right.
is something to think about too. It's like
That should be another show
you
for you.
right, yeah, that definitely, yeah, because I started out. That's how I started with
Oh,
consulting on TikTok
mm,
parents with EBD and children
mm,
with autism. And
okay,
as soon as I had the questions about these narcissism and children,
right.
that's when I kept getting all of the other like just
Right. How does it
NPD.
start? Like, how does this? I'm in the
Yeah,
education field. I'm a counselor slash teacher, and I'm like, we used to say with the high schoolers, are they born like this? Is it something that they come out with a clean slate? We talk about all these theories
yeah,
and these
nature versus nurture.
nature versus nurture. Like,
Yeah.
how does it all start? But when I started seeing the kindergartners and then the 2 year
Yep.
olds, like,
I
whoa,
was just gonna say that. I was like, I have seen little toddlers in daycare.
yes.
And it would be, at that age, they're already, into themselves and very selfish.
True.
But you see some things that aren't typical in some
Right.
type of children. Yeah.
Right.
You
I've
do see
seen
it
a
sometimes.
3 year old look up under a teacher's like butt. She would stoop down and he would look
Oh
under her
goodness
butt. Like, what
gracious.
are you doing? You're
Oh
only
my
3 years
goodness.
old.
Yeah. I mean, some things are
Well, then I met the father and I go, whoa, okay, there
oh,
it is. There it is. The father was a looker. A looker.
there
And
we go. I mean, some things
I'm
are
getting
just
nice about
really
it. He's a
passed
looker.
down. You never know. I mean, there's a lot of research into that. I mean, they're doing all type of studies. I mean, twin studies,
I can
just
imagine.
collecting data, like all type of things, trying to figure out
Where,
how in the world are these people being made.
where
Some
did
of them, in my opinion, because of course I cannot talk for everyone, but in my opinion, just seeing these children that I was working with emotional behavioral disorders and issues and things such as that, and it would be so not typical for anyone their age.
right,
I would say some of it comes from home, some of it is how they're being raised,
right.
and some of it is just, I'll be honest, I really do think some of them just, it just might be in their genetic,
Oh yeah,
because I'm trying to figure out how in the world does a,
that's a whole other show.
yeah, that, yeah, let me reel it back in. Okay. Now, conservative hippie. Hey, okay, yeah, Diana. Well, she says that my health took a toll also from athlete's foot shingle. Is I think shingles comes out so much because shingles, like, it lays dormant and then
Right.
it comes out when you're stressed. If I'm
Yes,
correct.
yes. That's what they're talking
Okay.
about.
All right. I could barely walk and I had to walk because that was my business. It was
Mm,
excruciating. My
wow.
life had just been saved 1 year before I got with the evil narcissist. He was a covert, malignant narc. And then
Wow.
my life started to go downhill after that. I felt I had this renewed life. She said, "Oh yeah," and she's responding to you. I am a target. I get her. I've had
Hmm.
two,
Yes.
vanity narc and covert
Yes.
malignant. Yeah, I
Malignant. Yes.
became codependent without
Oh,
realizing. You know
oh,
how this is how easy
wow.
it is to become codependent. I just did a video on this today. The
Mm,
silent treatment, for example.
yes.
When the silent treatment comes about, the narcissist is probably bored or just, doing what narcs
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
So they may actually ignore you, give you a
Yes.
silent treatment. They just ghost you. I mean, they
Yes.
disappear out of nowhere.
Yes.
And it leaves you wondering, oh my
What did I
God,
do?
what did I do?
What did I
So
do?
in turn, what do you do? I mean, just like anyone would do, I mean, that has a regular brain.
You would think
You
it's hard. It's really hard because you're
Yeah,
in
you
it
would
and you
say,
don't
"Hey, what's
understand.
going on? I wonder why this person isn't
And by
talking
us
to
being
me."
that person, giving people the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah, is
maybe
something
he's going
wrong?
through something. Maybe
Yeah.
he needs a break. Maybe
Well,
it's something I said.
yeah. That's because you have a normal brain.
Right. There's nothing wrong with me. And I did not realize that
Right.
this
It's
person was
it's
in
them. So
a
what do?
needed.
You go and reach out. You say, "Hey,
Yep.
are you okay? Or
Yes.
do you need anything? Or
Yes.
what's wrong?" I mean, just
Yeah.
simple questions like, and
Mm-hmm.
of course they give you the cold shoulder or
Mm-hmm.
they will
Mm-hmm.
not reply at all.
Yep.
So this leaves you in a state of you're wondering why, what is going on?
Yep.
Then in turn, over time, you actually become dependent.
Right.
That makes you sort of like a codependent in that
Yes.
instance because
Yes.
you're making yourself want to be,
Wow.
just like, what is it? What am I doing? What's wrong?
And that's a normal behavior. But
Exactly.
then it's almost as if they turn it around like you have a problem.
Of course. Yeah. You're the crazy one. Yeah.
You're the crazy one.
Uh-huh.
Wow. That's scary. That's manipulative.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's abusive. That's emotional abuse once again.
Yeah. It's very sad.
And how people can think that that was sent by God, only the narcissists believe that. Because yeah, the guy would say to me when I would try to break up, "Oh, but we met, we have so much in common and we were meant to be. You're the person that was meant for me."
Mm.
Wow.
Well, that's because they have to be the one to do a discard. They don't like to be the ones rejected.
There we go.
They have to be the ones to do a discard or to file for, I mean, usually you don't really see them file for divorce a lot
Mm,
unless they have someone who they know is a really good supply on the side, or just waiting. And that's also another point that I wanted to bring up, because a lot of times you have these narcissists, they're never going to be alone. So if you're
Yeah.
married to a narcissist, just know you're going to have to be content with them cheating,
Mm.
and not only them cheating once, but this is going to be a regular, this is a thing. This is not something where, right, you're going to have to be content with them always having someone else.
Mm.
Side note, they may be why you see all these poly relationships coming about these
Oh,
days.
wow. There we
But
go.
right, yeah. I mean, everybody wants to have, I mean, well, the narcissist wants to have their cake and eat it too in a group setting. So if you're married to a narcissist, you know that you were not or will, or if you're in it still, you're not the only one. You know that.
I saw one of those. I saw one of those excerpts of a poly relationship. It was three of them. The lady and it was two guys. And you can tell that the lady, she was a narc, and she was the one controlling the two guys.
Oh, goodness.
She was and then she wanted another person in the
Ooh.
relationship.
Oh
And
my
one was getting more upset than the other because he wanted to be married to her. She's like, why? Like she was controlling them they were like puppets.
Oh,
It
I don't
was
know how people
sad.
do it. I can't.
It was on TikTok or I forget where it was, but I saw the little, and I was like, oh my God, these poor men. One was like 50 something, one was a younger guy, but you could tell she favored the younger one.
Oh,
And the older one made his excuse he liked to be alone. They were
oh
fighting
my
between
goodness.
who should be in the bedroom with her.
Oh, what?
It was
Now
crazy.
that is so. Oh no.
She was controlling both
Oh my
of them.
gosh, I feel
It
so
was,
bad for him, for them. I mean, geez.
yes, and she wanted to bring in another one,
Oh no, you got.
a third guy in the, but they were both buying a house so they can please her to bring in
What
a
in the
third
world?
guy. Yes, they were shopping for another house because the place where they were was too small. But she always
Listen.
wanted to have her own room. She wanted her own room, her own master bedroom where she could call on each one when she wanted.
Oh my good. Oh, see, this is just too much for me. I just.
But she didn't want to marry either one of them. She
Right.
didn't want to be married. So the one that wanted to be married was upset. Like, I want a big wedding. So he could have been a narc too, because he was controlling her and the other guy.
Well, that whole look, I don't.
That's
I don't really deal with that type of situation. That might be, look. I don't really know, but
It was interesting. I gotta
That
find that show.
yeah, it's very interesting because
Oh goodness.
I don't know how you would. No, never. No, definitely not.
Oh goodness. It
Oh
was crazy.
gosh. So now, Michael, did you want to add anything before I move on?
I mean, you guys totally just like blew up the conversation. That's like craziness, right? I mean, this isn't like it's related to what you guys are talking about, but not necessarily like narcissism. But I had a friend that was like in something like that, and I could just never understand it because he lived in the in-law apartment. And it just like it just like totally was like, so it's like, well, how does this work? Like, I mean, like what when do you like get your turn? And it's like just thinking about it from that perspective of supply. I mean, it's like it's on
My
point. You know what I
goodness,
mean?
yes.
You know, and it's like if you're not getting what you need from one, then you get it from somebody else. And I just
Oh,
like
that is crazy. I cannot
That's a
imagine.
that's a narcissistic personality disorder. That's going around into the whole they want everybody to be okay with the situation that they want to be in. What better way to live? Like I know I'm this way. You got to agree with it. I'm not tiring myself out to go from this place to that place to that place.
Yeah, so let's just all move in together. How?
Right.
Jesus, you know, like I just can't believe it, you know. But it's like it almost seems like an evolution of narcissism. Like it's like
Right.
it's almost like, you know, it's like it's interesting because like, you know, my brother always used to tell me that like the reason why our culture is the way that it is like if we were like, you know, in the woods or something like that, right, and like we were needed shelter, it was always the bravest one that went in the cave first, right? And so then that was the guy who got mauled by the bear.
Okay.
Everybody else is like, I'm not going in there. And it's like, in some strange way, it's almost like the narcissistic behavior is just like proof that are on the other scale.
Yeah.
And like to sink or swim, I mean, like I have to be like self-aware enough to realize that like there are tendencies I have to be codependent. and the narcissist grooms that behavior.
Yes.
Yes.
And so like I think for me, like in some sort of a weird phase that I am where I'm like in this place in heading to court and everything else, like trying to figure out how do I like bring myself up out of it so that I'm not going to find myself back in the same circumstances.
Right.
I don't know. There's just like so many other like.
Uh-oh.
What
Hello.
happened?
Oh, I think he might have fell off, but I'm pretty sure he'll come back. This
Oh,
is StreamYard. StreamYard's kind of iffy here and
yeah,
there.
that's what I was having that problem when I started. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, with going back to when you're married to a narcissist, when you're under permissive will, yes, you can choose your mate because we have free will. That is the point of what I'm trying to get across, and I really hope people understand that. But when you're in the perfect will of the Most High, when you're in the perfect will, that mate will come from Him. It's the perfect will. It wouldn't be stress. It wouldn't be the adultery, the cheating, the manipulation, the gaslighting. I mean, we
It's
can go
easy.
down the laundry list of what the narcissist does. So to the person, whoever, I mean, I'll get so many messages and things like that. I mean, whatever the person was saying, oh, I can't leave because I'm stuck. That marriage was not married. Being married to a narcissist is not sent from God. It is not.
No.
He will allow it because that is in the permissive will. That is the will that your permissive will is removing off the base of God is a man who cannot lie. That is Numbers 23.
Wow.
That is the basis. He cannot lie. So if he cannot lie, and we know that he cannot, we know that he can't.
Wow.
So if he says in his word, I honor marriage,
Right.
he will allow you to be married. That is a permission. He
Wow.
will give you permission to be married because we know that he is a man that he cannot lie. So if God says he honors marriage, you have your free will to marry who you want to. Does that mean you're in the perfect will?
No, it may
No,
not
it
be.
does not. It
Wow.
doesn't. Right. And you can tell if you're in the perfect will or a permissive will because, yeah, God will be like, okay, well, I honor marriage. He honors marriage. Just that's in His word. But did I choose the mate for you? And if it's no, oh yeah, and you're with a narcissist, be prepared to be cheated on, gaslit, manipulated, silent treatment,
Wow.
dragged through the mud. I mean, smear campaign.
To be miserable.
You will be miserable because that is not who you were ordained to be with from the foundations of the world. That's not who you were ordained to be with.
Right.
With the narcissist.
It's so hard to be patient, you know?
Yes.
Like and wait on the Lord. So like we have this kind of like self-importance where it's like, like I need this now. And so like that really puts us into a position where we jump into something like well before like we're ready or really saw it through, didn't pay attention to the warning signs,
Oh yeah, that is very true because I mean the narcissist is actually we're dealing with a person who is not they don't think like regular people.
No.
Let's just say that. You're thinking of a person who is always manipulating. They don't move on genuine love. They're moving on basically survival and how they can get their needs met, which is a mode of survival. So when you're in again like we all have free will. You can do whatever you want to do. But when you're choosing a mate and a person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, I definitely would want the person that God want me to be with. Like I don't want anyone else because that permissive will, you can do it, and He will honor it.
Yes, we mess up when we choose. When we choose, we mess up. When He chooses, it's from His will.
Right, that is correct.
when it's sent by him, you'll know. I just
Yeah.
always wonder, like, how do you know when you're really in love? You'll know.
Mm-hmm. And
Because
if
it's
it really is sent by him, it will not be this
not, mm-mm,
torture that you're
no,
going through. It is a
exactly.
form of torture. This is a manipulation tactic
Yeah, yeah,
to break you down. So
yes.
yeah, it really does break you down. So when I saw that message, I was like, I don't know who you are, but I just hope that you're listening. Okay, so
I'm not, you know what? Isn't there a verse that says love is patient,
love is
kind?
kind. Yes, it is. I believe
It's,
it's in Corinthians.
there we go. Because I
Yeah,
don't know I don't know all the verse, but I know that there is something in the Bible that says that it doesn't ridicule, doesn't intimidate.
mhm.
Love doesn't
Love
make
is
you
patient,
feel
love is kind. Every
patient,
yeah.
patient.
It's not
Yes,
quick to anger.
Yes,
quick
there
Yeah.
to
you go.
anger. It's
Oh
very
my
this,
gosh. And you know how fast that narcissist is is angry?
what? You did you say something out of step? It's like, what are you saying? Like
I
what?
did a video on, like, demon manifestation. And so people were coming for me
Wow.
because I mean, and it's the truth. I mean, they have
Wow.
people have been bitten, I mean, growled at, and
Ooh,
I mean,
I was
spat
proud of.
on.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, this is real life
Hit. If
thing.
people are hit, I've seen people that are locked in closets
That's
in
right.
relationships.
Oh
They're
yeah.
battered.
Yes.
It's sad, and they think that's love. I worked
Yeah.
as an educator. I worked in a school where there are cultures that believe that if you don't hit them, you're not loved.
And you
They
bring up
believe
a good point. Now, with that being said, do you think, let's say for instance, you have child
oh,
brides in, I would say, I don't know, somewhere, anywhere in the world,
there
in
are
the
some
globe,
cultures. There are a lot of
everywhere.
cultures that believe that.
Yes. Now, do you believe, whoever is listening that posted that, a child bride, since you don't believe in divorce, would
Mm-hmm.
a child bride be in the perfect will of God?
Wow.
Put it like
Wow.
that.
Wow.
Yes, it happened. But
Mm,
is that the will? No, it is not.
exactly. No.
Absolutely not.
Right.
It's just
No.
sinister and sick.
Exactly.
Totally sick. Like this is almost beyond sick.
Yeah.
Or it's incredible how
Yeah.
people
So
think that that's
with that
okay.
type of thinking, you have to put it in context. Sometimes it's the narcissist guilt tripping you so you won't
Mm,
leave,
mm, exactly.
because they put that on you quick. And let me see if Leisha, if you want to let me add you to the stream. If you want to say something, you can come on up. Let's see. Now, let's see if you're on mute, if I can take you off. And you are talking to Yaya Marie. Oh, it says I can't unmute you, but you're up here if you want to interject. Um, so if anyone would like to call in, I mean, I have all the info here. Did you come back? Unmute mic. Oh, okay. Well, if anyone would like to come and share your experience, I'm going to just wrap up here. And right now, just some closing arguments. I feel like I'm in the courtroom. Closing arguments. What we want today, we went over what is the permissive versus the perfect will of God. Now, if you are married to a narcissist and you feel like you cannot get out, and you feel like you're stuck, that was the wording. They said, I feel like I'm stuck because I'm married and I do not believe in divorce.
Wow.
The question is, yes, you have said, let no man put us under. Who God put together, let no man put us under. But was that really God who put that together?
Mm. Or was it the narcissist saying that?
Well, when they made those vows, that was the devil. That was that was Satan.
Because when I was in a relationship with a narcissist twice, the whole premise from the one was like we were meant to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I chose to believe that was another question, because I was going through ups and like a roller coaster with the guy. Like I always thought, oh, this is too much for me. I
Mm.
don't think I can be in a relationship where I'm up and down because my parents were married 50 years. And
Okay,
I've
so
never
yeah.
seen them go up and down like this. Like it
Oh.
was different. Like it wasn't like I'm used to when I was a kid growing up. They didn't have all these types of issues. But then I thought, well, this is new day. And at the same time, it's like, no, it shouldn't be this difficult. My father always said, love is from what the Bible says. It's supposed to be easy breezy. You come in, no drama.
Mm-hmm.
He courts you. Someone takes over. You lay back, you relax, you chill. Like, hey, you yin and yang is what it's supposed to be. Not ups and peaks and valleys and mountains and
Mm-hmm.
you disappearing and because I said something and all this other stuff.
Yes. And
No,
you see that a lot because
no, that's not. It didn't feel right.
yeah.
If it doesn't feel right to you as a person that gives someone the benefit of the doubt in love and honor and truth, then something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's not with you if you're feeling that way. If you're feeling like this is not what I signed up for, and you go to bed upset and you're like, wait a minute, and you're crying in the nights and you're feeling like despondent, and then you know there's a problem. There's no shadow of a doubt that you
Mm-hmm.
know there's a problem. So that wasn't sent by God.
Definitely not. Definitely.
It's plain and simple. If
Yeah.
it, what do they say? If it looks like a duck, excuse me, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah.
There's no.
I really do believe that these like people have evil in them just walking on earth, and that
Oh
might
yes.
be a real stretch, or but I really believe that because how in the world can
Mm,
I or you or anyone on this panel, Michael, and then we have Leisha and Diana, how in the world can
oh,
we come together on a platform like YouTube and have something in common with
right.
someone across the world?
Mm.
How do they act like that? Like, how is this the
The
same
same
person?
behaviors, and we
It's
don't
the same
know.
behavior.
Yeah, and I don't know. People would say, "Oh, well, it's got to be something about you that's
No,
causing this."
yeah. I mean, they target people, and it's to the extreme now. I'm glad, I'm so grateful for the internet, but you have to also be careful because the internet is hosting so many narcissists too, and they get their fuel and things like that. You just never know.
Right.
So, I mean, this is a
They could be
real.
listening to us right now.
Oh, oh my gosh. Someone called the narc busters. Who you going to call?
Get out of here! Kick him out of the.
Who you going to call? But yes, when you are in the permissive will of God, you like the word says, he is a man that he cannot lie and he will
Mm,
honor marriage. So
yes.
we as people, as human beings, regular humans, not narcissists, we
No.
have our free will. We can marry who
Yes.
we want to, but
Yes.
you will be in the permissive will. Being in the perfect will, if God is not being in a marriage that is torment. This is
Right.
why when they leave and go, it's their turn to be
Mm,
tortured. Of course, we don't wish torture on anyone, but you already know what is going on. You know what's going on behind closed doors. When
wow.
you're ruminating, which is the constant thoughts about the narcissist, constant just thinking. That's what rumination is. It's something you
Mm,
cannot get out of your mind. Rumination
wow.
is really a mind trick. It's a mind trick.
Wow.
So when you're ruminating and you're thinking about this and that and the narcissist, usually with the rumination, you're thinking about what could have been. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what you need what to get over the rumination, you can either I always tell people write a list of all the con, like how I have a pro and con list,
Mm,
or you can also, I mean, read a book because that part of your brain that's reading that book, it can't ruminate as you're reading words on a paper. It's
mm,
different from listening to something. So you have to think of strategies to manipulate your own mind to stop thinking about the narcissist. That's how you know this is real spiritual warfare. And it is serious because that rumination after you leave, some people didn't even want to be with the narcissist. So why are
Right.
you thinking about them?
Right.
This is a spiritual
That's
warfare.
so true. That's so true. Because I met the narcissist, I didn't think he was my type. I'm like, oh, it's not
There
even
we
my
go.
type. But then he
See?
reeled me in with all the love bombing, and there was nothing else around. So I was like, oh, okay, let's see what's gonna go with this. And then it just happened. So yeah, I get that because we're so vulnerable when we're by ourselves and we're just to ourselves. We become vulnerable, and it's sad to say that we as those types, we believe in love. We want love. We
Oh
invite.
yeah. Yeah, that's why the narcissist targets people like
Wow.
like us. Yeah, I mean it's a sick game. It is a game to the narcissist. And I really, and that is my prayer. And I asked the Most High, use me, use me. I started out doing the education with the children videos, and it migrated to this. I had no clue people were actually suffering like this from narcissistic abuse.
Yes.
It is horrible, and it's so undercover because they're so slick and they're everywhere. They're in the court system, they're in the police office, in the postal office, and teachers. And you go to work, you're dealing with the narcissist. You come home,
Oh,
you're dealing with the narcissist.
yes. I had a boss that was a narcissist. She was
Yeah.
a mess.
Oh yeah, it's bad. Conservative hippie, yes, I have a Cash App, and I will put it in here in Pandu, if you want to come up, I'm about to close out. If you want to come up, you can. And Leisha, if you want to say anything, you can just come and pop in and say anything that you want to say, and just take your mic off.
Well, I just want to say I love the show, and I'm very, very intrigued and glad you did it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy to have all of my family here. And let's see, Pandu, if you don't want to come up, you can on probably the next show because I'm getting ready to wrap it up. All right. So now just closing statements. Permissive will is us freely choosing our partner. Now, does that mean you're in the perfect will? No, because when you read the word, God is a man who cannot lie, and he honors marriage. So you can have your free will and choose to be with whoever you want to be with. Does that mean the marriage is right? No, it does not.
No, it does not.
All right. So those of you who saw that comment on TikTok, I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to help this person. Because I'm like, no, you are never stuck.
Never.
Think about the gaslighting, the manipulation.
Yeah.
Do you know what gaslighting is?
Yeah. It's intentional.
Oh my gosh, this is something that I will never forget. I was like, it might have been, I might have been 19 or 20 in a relationship, and I'll never forget a person. This guy was dating. He turned off the light in the room. So I go in the room and I'm like, why is the light turned off? And he flicked it back on before I came in the room. And so he's like, oh, what are you talking about? So I go back to the room, and then I hear the breaker shut off, and then it cut back on with the lights on. And then I'm like, what just happened? I go back into the other room near the basement. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow.
This was a blatant, that's the definition of gaslighting.
It really is.
That's the definition
right in your face.
Exactly. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I went through that, because that is the actual definition of gaslighting. When you look up the history, you'll see there was a man and a woman. The man, he kept turning off on the lights, and the actual gaslighting.
That person got it from the textbook.
There's an old movie called Gaslight, and he just kept dimming the lights over and over again to make her think she was crazy.
That's exactly what happened.
That's right.
That is exactly what happened to me. And mind you, I'm in my 30s now, but this was so long ago. I still remember that.
Mm, that's how much
So,
of it had effect on you.
right. That's how I'm like, I know I'm so happy that that happened, because now I have that real life example
Mm-hmm.
of how this really is. So imagine that in a conversation.
Wow.
Imagine that out. Imagine that here and there.
Right.
So, I just hope everyone benefited from this conversation. I love each and every one of you. Make sure you're just stay tuned in. That is it. And I hope everyone has a wonderful hump day. And thank you for spending your evening
Thank
right
you,
here
Dr. I
with me.
appreciate you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
Happy
much.
Father's Day to any mothers.
Thank you. Happy
Thank
Mother's
you.
Day.
Same to you. Same to everyone who is a mother. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes.
All righty. I will see you next Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Bye.
Bye bye.